All right, perfect. Hey, welcome to Refocus Radio. We are here once again. And man, today we have a returning guest. You know who he is, Jerome Surles. He's on the homepage, refocusradio.com. We are trying to bring awareness and supporting him and what he does with a charitable fundraiser for National Foundation for Transplants, Inc. And man, we're going to catch up with him today. He has some breaking news that he can share with us, his updates on his journey. And first and foremost, Jerome, I want to say, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm blessed, man. I'm doing well. You have good days and bad days with this stuff, but today just happens to be a good day. So I'm blessed, my brother.
Yeah, man. I mean, I see your posts and I see you pushing on the bright days, and even when it's not bright, you still find a way to open the shades and let the sun in. So, kind of catch up the audience a little bit about your journey so far, and if there's any brand new updates, if you don't mind, share that with us.
Sure. So it's been just over a year since I was diagnosed with ESRD, end stage renal disease. And I got on the transplant list last year through Methodist Hospital. And shout out to the doctors over there; they're doing an awesome job. And I've gone through a couple of potential donors. My goal is to get a live donor. There's anytime that you're in this type of situation, there's two lists. There's the live donor list, and then there's the deceased donor list, right? The challenge with the cadaver list is that's the one that has a very long wait to it. In my case, with my age, my bracket, it would be between about 5 to 7 years. Um, with a living donor, obviously, it's a much shorter time that you have to wait. But it all depends upon finding someone that's willing to do it. Then there's a battery of tests and things they have to go through to be able to qualify. And so you go through that dance, and hopefully someone matches and lines up and can get through all the testing. And so one of the things I've had several people step up to attempt to become donors, and unfortunately, they didn't qualify for various reasons. But bless their hearts and God bless them for even stepping up to volunteer to try to help save my life. And the good news is that I do have a donor in the queue right now who has passed all of their testing. We had a little bit of a setback with them. It was kind of a shortened setback. We got through all of that, and now we're just waiting on the final assessment from the transplant center. If everything goes well with that, then we'll be doing a transplant sometime soon. Don't have a date yet because it's all based upon them calling her in to finish this last assessment, which hopefully will be sometime after the 4th. And then from there, we'll get it scheduled.
Man, that's awesome news. I mean, I know they're supporters because I checked the page that we linked to the program that you're part of, National Foundation of Transplants. There's a link for people on the homepage on refocusradio.com. It's a community thrives.myneycause.com/story/kidney for Jerome. And man, I will check that every month. And what was encouraging is to see the activity of people making donations. And I mean, how important is for people to understand that you still need financial help from the community, because it's not like it's a cheap little thing that happens. This is a big situation that's life changing.
Oh, without a doubt, man. And I'm actually glad you brought that up because what people don't understand is part of what I've been trying to educate folks on. Anytime someone finds themselves in a situation, one of two things happen. One, they end up not working anymore and ending up on SSDI, which is part of Social Security disability. Or two, they try and continue to work and they struggle through it, right? Any way you look at it, though, it has a huge financial impact on the person as well as their family. Now, in my case in particular, I'm the breadwinner in my house. My wife doesn't work, and we've been blessed to be able to do that over the years, right? But through this event happening, there's been a bunch of different changes in our overall financial status. Now, we've been able to make it through, no doubt. God's got us covered. But at the same token, it's a huge challenge. The surgery alone, the transplant surgery alone, it costs a little bit over $440,000. That's just the surgery. Okay. That's taking the kidney from, the donor, putting it in you, making sure everything's working, and sending you on your way. We're not even talking about the dialysis treatment that you have to go through 3 times a week, every week, right? And that's upwards of $30,000 a month. Then there's various medicines and injections that you end up on during that process, because once your kidneys fail, so many other systems and things in your body begin to have issues as well. For example, I'd always heard of like a thyroid, right? But there's a thing called a parathyroid, and they're connected to your thyroid, and it's like little bitty small nodules that are on there. There's like four or five or so that we all have, on our thyroids. Well, the parathyroid controls calcium absorption in your body. And so if they're out of whack, if they're not acting right, guess what? It starts to draw calcium out of your body and disposing of it as waste. So you can end up with osteoporosis, brittle bones, teeth issues, all kinds of things. So there's a ton of costs outside of just what people think might be the obvious. Again, like I said, dialysis is over $30,000 a month. Thank God for insurance. Then, like I said, there's all the other injections and pills to deal with, parathyroid issues, high blood pressure. God forbid if you're one of those that has diabetes. There's so many other things that are affected by our kidneys. A little bitty kidney, has such a huge effect on so many things in your body that the costs just keep coming and coming and coming. Man, I've literally got a stack of bills, sitting on my desk in my office, from just dealing with this. And it's crazy when you look at some of the costs, but thank God for insurances. But even above that, there's so many other things. Going back to this parathyroid, for example, whenever we realized that that number was going crazy and my doctor prescribed me a medicine for it, I go to my pharmacy to pick it up. And the pharmacist looks me in the face and says $462, and he said it with a straight face. And I asked him, I said, "Are you sure you got the right name and the right prescription?" And he said, "Yeah, that's what it costs." And so, to be surprised with things like that, right? Nobody expects to walk in and have to pay $400 for a prescription, or $500 or $1,000, right? And then if you're blessed with getting a transplant, after the transplant, the medicines that you have to take for the rest of your life, without insurances, they run almost $4,000 a month, right? Just to stay alive. So first off, thank God for insurances, right? But secondly, there are out-of-pocket costs that go along with all of that. For the rest of my life, I'm going to have to go to the doctor quite regularly. I've got medications I've got to take for the rest of my life, and then after the fact, there tend to be other complications. I've got several frat brothers, as well as met a lady the other day who's on the other side of a kidney transplant, thank God, but they're still dealing with other issues from their transplant, right? Because again, it's not like your car where your starter goes out, you get a new starter in it, and it works like it should. Our bodies are designed uniquely by God. And so whenever he created that kidney and put in Jerome, that kidney works for Jerome. If I get a donor kidney, that kidney was actually designed for someone else. And so your body, is trying to compensate and deal with that, right? And so yeah, it's a financial strain, no doubt, on your family, on your household, on friends and everything. Luckily we have had some great support from donors, but there's a long way to go. You know what I mean? We still have a very long way to go on this journey, and it definitely hasn't ended. Right. So, any and every, we're thankful for everything that folks have done, but, like I said, there's still a very long road ahead. And we appreciate anyone that finds in their heart to donate. And, not just donating to me. Find somebody that's going through this. You can go on the National Transplant page and find somebody. Doesn't even matter. Donate $20. Doesn't matter how much you do, man. Trust me, it's going to make a huge difference in their life. You might think it doesn't, but it really does.
Once again, listen on Refocus Radio, talking to our guest, Jerome Surles, the member of National Foundation for Transplants. He's giving us an update on his story, and I want to address the community, how we can uh, educate them. You're going through this, so someone on the outside of the donations that they can do, what is the best thing a person who wants to support someone in your shoes, what's the best way that encourages you and encourages others who may be going through this similar process? Because we all can be like, yeah, I'll throw this at you, donate this and donate that. But are there other ways that people can get involved to encourage people like yourself?
Most definitely. One of the easiest things that you can do, man, is reach out. Reach out and check on that person. I posted something a few weeks ago. Since it's pre-COVID, well, prior to COVID, the dialysis centers where most of us spend a majority of our time, they were open. Right, if you were going through it, your spouse could go in with you while you're going through treatment. Right, well, COVID actually, closed some things down. Now there are some dialysis centers that are opening back up. Right, they're allowing people to come in. Not all of them, but some of them do. There's advocacy roles within the actual dialysis center, and you don't have to be a patient to actually go in and volunteer in those roles. Right, so spending time with folks is huge. Um, One of the biggest challenges that I see in that dialysis center is the encouragement factor, just kind of what you're talking about. So many of the folks that go in there have so many issues going on. A lot of times, whenever they get in that chair, they're defeated, right? And so, what better way to try to put a smile on somebody's face than becoming an advocate by going and volunteering at a local dialysis center? Now, again, not every single center is allowing this right now in terms of you being able to mask up and go inside of the clinic and sit with people and whatnot. But what they are allowing is that there's always a waiting room, right? And in that waiting room, you can do all kinds of things there. You can go and pray with folks. You can go and play checkers with folks. You can go and just have a sit down and see how people are doing. Right? Just taking 2 minutes, 10 minutes out of your day to go and sit down with someone that's dealing with this and offer a few words of encouragement, man, goes a long way, bro. It goes a very long way, and people don't realize it. So like I said, the centers are beginning to open back up to allow this kind of stuff. There's also a patient advocate position at every dialysis clinic, right? And again, you don't have to be a patient to apply for that role. It's a volunteer position. Every clinic has one, and most clinics are in need of one right now because of what happened with COVID and everything. So those are a couple of things that you can do. Reach out, whether it be through social media, Facebook, if you know them personally. Stop by their house, man. We had a couple good friends of ours. They just showed up one day with dinner. You know what I mean? Just out of the blue. Hey, we were thinking about you guys and we want to do something for you. Boom. They showed up with dinner, literally dinner for 2 nights. Something like that goes a long way in just showing people, one, that you care, that you're thinking about them, that you love them. It doesn't always have to be about pulling money out of your pocket. Spend a little time with some of these folks, right? I've got frat brothers that constantly reach out, like, hey, Jay, let's go grab some lunch. Anything like that, man, just reach out, let them know that you're in the corner with them. That goes just as far as a $10 donation.
And with your experience so far, someone who is like a family member or a friend of someone who's going through similar situation as you, waiting for a kidney, based on your knowledge and experience, what are some things that you would encourage someone to do, whether it's talking to the doctor or just knowing a little bit more about the process, that they, may be overwhelmed in the beginning at first because there's so much information, I'm sure. What are some of the things that you can generally just encourage someone who might just be starting the process?
Well, first and foremost, even before getting into this process, the thing that I'm trying my best to encourage folks on is to go see your doctor. Get your checkups regularly, okay? And whenever you do, 9 times out of 10, especially if you're doing your yearly checkup, they're going to take blood and they're going to do blood tests, right? Ask them about your kidney function for whatever reason. And this is something that we're trying to figure out. For whatever reason, doctors don't talk about what's going on with your kidneys until it's kind of too late, right? I have no idea why that goes that way, but they tend to not focus on that. The more I guess, popular issues, are diabetes, high cholesterol, those kinds of things. Doctors always have a discussion with you about those numbers. But for whatever reason, they never really approach your kidney numbers, your creatinine levels, those things, how your kidneys are filtering, right? So, first and foremost, go to the doctor regularly, get your checkups, and ask about your kidney function. Okay. Make them share that information with you on the front end. Because one of the things that I've learned in this that's super valuable is that the kidneys are one of just a handful of organs in our body that can heal themselves. Right. Now, there is a point of no return, but if you catch it, if you understand that there's some things going on, but before it's too late, you can actually through diet and exercise heal your kidneys, right? So ask those questions. That's the first thing. Secondly, if you do find yourself in this situation, unfortunately you find yourself here, the best thing to do, and I don't know your faith, but pray. That's one of the first things you can do. Definitely get in touch with whoever it is that you worship. I happen to be a Christian. I happen to follow Christ, and I happen to believe in God. So the very first thing I did was pray. That provided me with a sense of peace, right? It let me know that it's not about how strong I am, but where my strength actually comes from and who my strength is in. So for me, that was the very first thing. The second thing is ask questions. They're going to be sending a lot of information at you right off the bat, right? A lot of us sometimes tend to kind of clam up and not really speak out and just kind of take in what the doctors are saying. Okay, yes, you have to listen, but ask questions. Ask questions. Don't sit there quietly and just say, "Okay, great. What's next?" Ask questions. Get involved in the process. Right. The ideal relationship between a patient and their providers should be one that involves both of them communicating together to find the best path of treatment, right? Don't just sit up there and take what the doctor says for gospel. Get a second opinion and ask questions, right? Another really good place to get information is the National Foundation for Transplants, right? Yes, I am a part of that particular organization, but there are several others out there. There's the American Kidney Fund, the National Kidney Foundation. Get a hold of one of these sites and start reading information, right? There are several groups on social media that specialize in this stuff as well. Reach out to these groups again and ask questions, right? You're going to find that someone has been through what you're about to go through, and they're willing to kind of lead you and guide you through the process, right? But the biggest thing is to create a relationship with your doctor that is mutually beneficial. Communicate with them openly and honestly about what's going on, what you're feeling, what you're thinking, and ask a ton of questions, right? Nobody but them actually understands this stuff, right? The average person walking around has no idea what their kidneys actually do, right? So when this happens, it can be very overwhelming. My advice is pray and ask questions and develop a relationship with your providers. Don't just take what they say as gospel, but question them, right? And I'm not saying being a butthole about it, right? But hey, I don't understand what this means. Can you please explain this to me? Something as simple as that. But get involved in your process, okay? It will help you so much down the road in terms of dealing with everything that's going on.
And last thing I'll touch on is the fact that you're able to set up a page for people, the community, to go and donate, and they can go to irefocusradio.com and see you on the home page. I'm gonna change the old interview to this interview so it's up to date, and talk a little bit about the process of you starting your page, because it's on a community thrives. .mightycause.com is a part of the USA Today network, and the National Foundation for Transplants Inc. is the nonprofit organization that allows you to have a page and has all of the information and a little story about you. How easy was it for you to set that up, and for someone who may need to set it for themselves or a loved one or a friend? How easy was it for you to do that?
Great question. So it was actually as easy as one, two, three, right? So, excuse me, 1 second here. One of the side effects of this is that you end up finding yourself being dry all the time. So sometimes I gotta, make sure I keep a little extra water around. But as far as getting the page set up, it was super easy. I reached out to the folks from the National Transplant Foundation. They provided me with a questionnaire, a little bit about me, answered some questions about my life, and then they took it from there. I provided them with a picture, and then they did the rest. Literally, they set up everything, they maintain it. There are ways that I can go in and update it, and they can update it as well. But it's extremely easy to do. And then they launched it once I approved the final draft of it. So it's super easy. They pretty much do all the work. You answer a few questions about yourself, about your family, that kind of stuff, and then they build it out and they load it and launch it for you. So it's super easy. They take a lot of the stress off of you in getting these things set up. It literally takes 5 minutes, and then they do the rest. Right? Super duper easy.
I like that, and I like you can search for them on that website, and you can see their information. So transplants.org, and you can see email info@transplants.org. So I think that's important because a lot of times people, they don't know what they don't know. So they just kind of assume things and they're like, oh, okay, I'm going to skip that, or okay, I'm going to do it once and then forget about it. But I think when you keep reminding people, like we're trying to do today, like providing an update on Jerome Surles, is important because he's one of many people, not just in the United States, but around the world, who can be going through something like this. So the more we
Exactly.
can share the information and tools that you've been able to gather with your journey, hopefully we can help others to being able to do the same with their journey. So I know you fighting hard, man. I appreciate you helping us just educate people with uh, your story and what you're going through with your health, and anything you would say to our audience that we haven't mentioned so far.
Well, the other thing, in terms of setting up your page and so on and so forth, I recommend one, getting with the National Foundation for Transplants and getting that set up. And two, I would also set up a GoFundMe page, right? And the reason for that is because the National Foundation for Transplants, any of the monies that are donated there are yours, but it's all based on reimbursement, right? And it covers medically specific costs, right? But there's also things that are not necessarily medically specific that that you'll encounter on this journey. So I recommend getting the National Foundation for Transplants page set up, but also go ahead and set up a GoFundMe as well. That way, you have access to immediate funds as well as being able to get things reimbursed as you go through this process through what's raised there. Two, reach out to local organizations, man. Walmart, Cane's Chicken Fingers, Chicken and Pickle here in San Antonio. Chicken and Pickle, for example, they part of their mission as an organization is to give back to causes such as this. They will literally set you up for no cost, where you can do events out there. They'll give you a portion of the receipts that were raised that evening or that afternoon, or during your event. They're fantastic with working with folks in terms of getting awareness out of what you're dealing with and then helping you to raise monies for it. But check out organizations in your community. You wouldn't believe how restaurants, stores, how they are ready and willing to support you. We're working on some raffle type options right now that we're going to be looking at. There's some donations that'll be coming in from places like Walmart. Um, there's Little Caesars that will get involved with you. There are a ton of places, man, that can help you along the way. And they have whole departments in their companies that are designed just for this. So don't just lean on quote unquote friends and family. Get out there, man. Go and check out some of your favorite restaurants, some of the places where you shop every day. HEB has a program. Check out these places. Some of them will straight up donate. Some of them will set you up with goods and services for no charge. Some of them will allow you access to their facilities for no charge. So there's a bunch of different things you can do in terms of getting awareness out there and raising funds that are going to be essential to you getting through this thing. So don't limit yourself. Okay. Check out a bunch of different avenues. There's tons of people that want to help.
You've been listening to Refocus Radio, talking to our guest today, Jerome Surles, member of the National Foundation of Transplants. You can check out the couple links that we have on the description, his GoFundMe page, and also a community thrives.mightycause.com/story kidney for Jerome. And we'll try to keep, hopefully, have a chance to have updates from you in the future, man, because I think you're helping a lot of people to not just be educated, but those who may have friends or loved ones going through a similar process, they can share this information with them that is very valuable through their own personal process as well. So thank you for your time, man.
Man, thank you for your support, brother. We appreciate you and we applaud everything you're doing, my man. Keep it up.